Turn it all the way up. Yeah, yeah.
Everybody, lift it up. Everybody, stop what you're doing and listen to me.
Alpha male. Yes, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, you already know what time it is. It is me. He is I, and I am him. I am he that they call the alpha male. Yes, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, go ahead and give me a round of applause, please. What's going on, everybody? Happy to be here. Happy to see y'all. Happy Wednesday. What's going on, everybody? It is the Alpha Male. He is I, and I am him. I am he that they call the Alpha Male. Welcome to AlphaMale Sports. I'm going to say Alpha Male a whole lot, so just get used to it. What's going on with everybody? Jumping right into it. I ain't going to waste no time today because I ain't trying to be here all night. You know what I'm saying? I want to kick it with you. I'm here for a good time, not a long time. That's what Drake said. I'm here for a good time, not for a long time. What's going on right now, of course, if you are paying attention to what's going on in sports right now, you got the Major League Baseball playoffs going on right now. We got the Minnesota Twins taking on the Minnesota Twins taking on the Toronto Blue Jays, and the Arizona Cardinal. I'm sorry, Arizona, not Cardinals, the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Milwaukee Brewers. They're also playing each other right now. So that is pretty good. Hold on one second. There we go. There's my bracket. And give me my music too. There we go. All right. Anyway, back to what I was saying. So right now, going on in baseball, you have the Major League playoffs. Of course, the Braves and the Dodgers take up the number 1 and 2 positions. So they're not playing right now. They will play this weekend though. But the Braves will take on the winner of the Phillies versus the Marlins. Right now, the Phillies is up 1 game in that playoff game. The Brewers also taking on the Diamondbacks, and they will be taking on. Well, the winner of that series will go on to take on the Diamondbacks. Okay, you got the Rays and Rangers again right now. The Tampa Bay Rays, they're struggling, falling behind the Rangers right now. The Rangers actually have a lead in that series, 1-0, and the Twins have a 1-0 lead also against the Blue Jays. So the winner of the Rays and the Rays and the Tampa Bay Rays and the Rangers, the winner of that will go on to take on the Baltimore Orioles in the AL division. And the winner of the Blue Jays and Twins, they take on the Astros. So that is what we are keeping up with. I'm not much of a baseball person, so I've played it. I've played baseball before. Enjoy baseball a lot. And you're listening to AlphaMale Sports. I love it a lot, but I don't keep up with it as closely as I do basketball, and I damn sure don't keep up with basketball as closely as I do football. So as you can see, you see how the tears go down there. But I do get excited a lot because of around this time specifically because it's sweater weather. Might not look like it right now because I'm, kind of chill in my house. But during this time of year, around October, of course, the baseball playoffs, they're going on. That's pretty interesting to me. I feel like when you got the right kind of atmosphere, along with that cool, crisp air, you know what I mean, and the pitchers and all this other stuff. Like I like baseball around this time of year. I mean, I like summer baseball. I definitely like the 4th of July games here at Truist Park. Now, I enjoy them, but nothing beats October baseball. And right now, you got all of the heavy hitters in the Major League playoffs right now. The Braves, the Dodgers, the Phillies, the Brewers, the Diamondbacks, the Orioles are back in it for the first time in a very long time. That's also very entertaining to me. You got the Rays, the Rangers, the Twins, the Blue Jays. You have so many people here, well, so many teams here in the playoffs that I'm excited for. Who you excited for? Make sure that you tap in with me. Leave a comment. You know what I'm saying? Just say whatever. Just say hey, whatever. You know what I mean? Let me know that you are there and you're listening. But also, if you're a Braves fan like I am, you know what I mean? Do the tomahawk chop. But I am a big Braves fan. I was at the not tailgate, but the parade when they won the championship back in I think 2001. And of course that was a bummer because they just sped by us. Me and my brother-in-law and sister were sitting out there waiting for the team to pass by us, but they literally passed by us. And then of course they did like 2 or 3 laps around Truist Park up at the Cobb County area where a lot of people say, that's not Atlanta, that's Cobb County. Anyway, you got to be from Atlanta to know what I'm talking about. But I am a big Atlanta Braves fan. They've been talked about saying that they're the number 1 overall team in baseball right now. and I am excited. I am very excited for that. Matter of fact, give them a round of applause because that's a big deal. And just to be honest, if they can win another championship, if they can win another championship, they didn't win it last year, which is perfectly fine. They fought hard, but if they can win another championship this year, because all of the expectations are leading to that, if they can win a championship this year, I would go so far as saying that this might be one of the best teams, if not better than the original teams that had all the pitchers. Go ahead, give them a round of applause. It's true. It's true. I mean, the Chipper Jones years, the Andrew Jones years, Ryan Klesko, all of those greats, because Atlanta has been blessed with some great baseball players. I'm not gonna lie to you. But let's be honest, in the past few years, it just hasn't been great for us. We've been losing. That's as simple as that. We haven't been winning. And we didn't win any championships around that time, even though we had 3 Hall of Fame pitchers, 2 Hall of Fame batters, or whatever you want to call it. We had a lot of good talent around that team, and we can only come away with 1 championship. And of course, the Braves now, they've won a championship and they're looked at to possibly win another one. So as you can see, I'm very excited. Tip my hat to them. But let's get back to it. And you're listening to AlphaMale Sports. Before I get any further in what I got going on today, I want to give a major shout out to the Benedict College Tigers, the Benedict College Collegium football team. I just say that because that's actually on the shield. If you guys pay attention to your shield, you'll know the actual terminology of your team. But anywho, major shouts out to the Benedict College Tigers. Shouts out to Coach Kenneth Berry. The homecoming is coming up, and unfortunately, I am not able to make it this year. That sucks, but I'm really excited about just what they've got going on. They're undefeated right now. They're doing a great job, and I've been looking through social media right now. They don't have any losses on their record. They're number 1 in the SIAC, and looked at to possibly win another championship. And I just want to give another shout out. I do have a copy of that interview that I had with Coach Kingsbury earlier this year, talking about what he was bringing back to the football program. And I'll play that again for you guys later on. But I'll bring that up because these guys are still undefeated. I think they just beat Morehouse recently, and I'm pretty excited simply because of the fact that these guys are still doing it. And this isn't a fluke. The first year that I stopped playing football, right after that, Benedict, they went on like I think a 5 or 6 game win streak. They went on a pretty long win streak, won a few games, got the campus excited for the year, but unfortunately, they fell to a few powerhouses in the SIAC. But that's okay. That is okay. The good thing about it is, again, Coach Kenneth Berry has them on a trajectory that looks to be quite entertaining. And then, of course, the band just keeps getting better. The band just keeps getting better and better and better. And who can argue with that? The band is great. Go ahead and give them another round of applause. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to AlphaMale Sports. He is I, and I am him. He is I that they call the Alpha Male. So, of course, just been giving you some updates on what's been going on in the NFL and in baseball and football, basketball, whatever. Of course, basketball is coming up soon to be pretty excited about, the basketball season. Of course, we all know that Damian Lillard is now with the Milwaukee Bucks. Tell me how you feel about that. Do you find it to be interesting? I hadn't done too much of the deep dives or the research as to the probability of these two guys, Giannis Antetokounmpo and Damian Lillard, actually working together. But from his mouth, from what Damian Lillard said himself, when he saw the roster, when he started to see who he was getting traded for, and when he started to see the team that would be assembled, he just basically said that he was excited. Oh, and I got it in. So the Texas Rangers, they just won their first round, I guess, the wild card series. Texas Rangers eliminated the Tampa Bay Rays in the first round of the wild card series. The Minnesota Twins, they also won their series, eliminating the Toronto Blue Jays. Right now, Miami is taking on Philly at 8 o'clock tonight. And then, of course, right now, Arizona is behind in their game 2-0 versus the Milwaukee Brewers. And if I'm not mistaken, no, Arizona leads it 1-0. So if the Brewers can possibly pull this out, then as you can see, they're going to go to a third game and so on and so forth. Make sure that you guys keep up with, Major League Baseball with me, this, that, and the third. Let's just keep this thing working out. You dig what I'm saying? But you are listening to AlphaMale Sports. And again, like I said, I'm just keeping you guys updated with all of what's going on. And then, of course, we know that the Texas Rangers, they'll be taking on the Baltimore Orioles in the next round. And the Minnesota Twins, they'll be taking on the Houston Astros also in the next round. What's so crazy is Minnesota Twins actually has one of the players that helped the Astros get to and win in Major League Baseball championship. Do not know his name. Do not ask me because, of course, I am not a baseball aficionado. You got to ask my nephew. My nephew Jackson is just a baseball fiend. I got to talk to you guys about him. You guys will possibly meet him sooner than later, but make sure y'all stick with me because he would know more about all of this. But as you can see, the Texas Rangers, they'll be going on to take on the Baltimore Orioles, and the Minnesota Twins will be taking on the Astros, the Braves. In my opinion, it feels like the Phillies, they're going to end up taking on the Braves in the next round. And from what I'm looking at, the Brewers and the Diamondbacks, they're going to extend their I guess not tournament, but their round. They're going to play, they're going to go the length. It seems like they're going to go for 5 games in total. You know that in baseball, the wild card round is worth 5 games. So you got to win the best of 3. And then after that, then in the divisional round, then it goes into 7 from their 4th. So that's how baseball works, of course. And at one point in time, basketball used to also be like that as well. But ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to AlphaMale Sports. He is I and I am him. I am he that they call the Alpha Male. Make sure that you guys tap in with me on Twitter, but also check in with me on Facebook and Twitch. Facebook, you can check me out on my personal page. It's just Walter Pollard. It's my actual name. And then, of course, go on to Twitch, AlphaMale88. Also on Twitter, AlphaMale88. Check those 2 pages out. You know what I mean? Come check me out on all of my social media handles. Radio6_Raheem for Instagram. Yeah, that's what it is. It's for Instagram. So make sure that y'all tap in with me. Radio, the number 6_Raheem right there on the screen for you on Instagram. And then, of course, you can catch me on Threads and Twitter at on air Walter, but then also catch me at AlphaMale Sports on Instagram, Threads, Twitter, this, that, and the third at on air Walter as well. Now, let me get that back up actually. Yeah, it's AlphaMale Sports. But I just want to point out that for a while lately, I've been having this argument with myself. I haven't been arguing with anybody else. I haven't talked to my brother about anything or anything like that, but I have been, and this confirmed it. Not that earlier today, I had seen a clip from the Shay Shay show, Club Shay Shay, it was him and Marshawn Lynch, and listen to what Marshawn Lynch had to say.
You didn't mess with who? I didn't fuck with Pete, and then Russ was just a quarterback for me. Right. You know what I mean? You didn't have no kind of a relationship. Y'all didn't like go to a party. Y'all didn't get together. Y'all didn't do it. Y'all didn't kick it like that. I mean, even Seven. Seven would come to the room. Club Shay Shay started in training camp in Denver. John would come to the room. We drank beer. We played cards. We rolled dice. The guys played video game. We laugh and shoot the ish. We had that type of relationship with him. I'll take Russ and I'll put him right there at quarterback and I'll rock with him. Right. Because I have done that. Right. But as far as anything else, it's there's y'all didn't have a relationship outside of football. No, there's no. Can't pick up the phone and call old boy or nothing. Right. And then What you mean you couldn't pick up the phone? I don't got his number. Oh, well, but you would. But if you yeah, for sure.
Now, of course, I had that. That's just, of course, if you've been watching it, that's from Club Shay Shay, Shannon Sharp with Beast Mode, Marshawn Lynch, and he was that was just a small snippet of him talking about his relationship with Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson, and he said to himself, he's not at liberty to speak on Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson's relationship. And as we all know that at the time, like Shannon said, it was a match made in heaven. Russell, Beast Mode, Marshawn Lynch, and Pete Carroll, it all worked together. Pete Carroll had success coming out of USC, and Marshawn Lynch came in as a number one draft pick, 12th overall to the Buffalo Bills. So it seemed like it was going to work out. Russell Wilson came in. You saw automatic success automatically. It seemed like it was going to work out, and then the bottom falls out. Beast Mode then is traded to Oakland. And now the question becomes, well, who's running the ship? Is it Pete Carroll? Is it Russell? I was under the impression that it was Russell. I believe that it was Russell. I was wrong. It was the coaches. Don't worry, you might get it if you watch social media. But anywho, I thought that Russell Wilson was the one that was driving the boat. He was the one that was making the magic on the field. He was the one that was putting his team on his back and carrying them, which way, whatever. But I want to, you tell me what you think, right? I want you to comment. Please feel free to, and I'm going to read it during the show. But who do you think orchestrated or was responsible for the success of the Seattle Seahawks between the years 2000 and 2012 and 2015? Now let's go through 2012, 2015 of who all was on that team, just in general, correct, right? So like I said, for years I've been arguing who was responsible for the success in Seattle, right? And I want to point out too that Seattle had been to the Super Bowl before. Okay, Trent Dilfer, I think it was Trent, one of the no-name quarterbacks. You know what I'm saying? You had Sean, I forgot his name too, but he went to Alabama. He was a big running back. It was a good team. They weren't complete. They weren't who we thought they were because they didn't win. They lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers at the time, but Seattle had been there before, so it wasn't like it was just all new, or it wasn't like it was something that just happened out of nowhere. They had been there before, so they knew what it was like. But when you think about the Legion of Boom or the Seattle Seahawks, who was responsible? First, you think of the Legion of Boom, like I said, right? And this is from 2012 to 2015. The Legion of Boom, they led the fewest points allowed in the NFL. They led the league with the fewest points allowed. And they also had the league's best scoring defense in 2013, specifically having 39 takeaways. 39 takeaways. It's difficult to get two and for one player, but for an entire defense, you got 39 takeaways. Impressive. Give these guys a round of applause. But not only just that, you had a hard-hitting defense. You had Earl Thomas. You had Richard Sherman, Cam Chancellor, Brandon Browner, Brian Maxwell, Jeremy Lane, Walter Thurman. And then the list gets longer, okay? Because at some point, the DBs, the defensive backs, the safeties, and this, that, and third, and we all know Cam Chancellor was the hardest hitter of all, in my honest opinion. He should go in the Hall of Fame just as the hardest hitter, period. But we'll save that argument for another discussion, because Steve Atwater is another person that, anyway. But but the list got longer, and the list started to grow. You had KJ Wright, Michael Bennett, who played defensive end, had the jacked up shoulder pads, all configured and whatnot. You had Cliff Averill, Malcolm Smith, Brandon Mebane, Frank Clark, Chris Clemens, and then of course you had Bruce Irvin. You dig what I'm saying? And that they were an impressive team. They were an impressive team, even just on the defensive side. Just on the defensive side alone, they were impressive. And you would almost want to argue that, well, damn, maybe they were responsible for all of what happened, because from what the defense was doing, it seemed as if the offense benefited from that. As long as the defense was out there having all the takeaways, sacks, strip sacks, this, that, and the third. If the defense goes out and do their job, maybe the offense was a lot easier for those people. So maybe it was the Legion of Boom, or maybe not. But then you go on to Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll, he came in, I think it was around 2012. 2010. Yeah, he got that. I want to say he got there in 2010, but of course, Pete Carroll coached the USC Trojans to a 2004 national title, which got vacated later in 2010 due to unconstitutional control, or lack of institutional control, which meant that They were paying before NIL was NIL. They were operating under the NIL. They were paying players for their name, image, and likeness, but because at that time Reggie Bush was the hottest player in sports in general. You had the Trojans. You dig what I'm saying? You had Matt Leinart. You had all of these different players that really just made millions, in my opinion, for the school and made a lot of money for themselves as well. And I think one thing led to another. Too much got too much for some people, and of course, Pete Carroll booked it. And I think, well, yeah, it was in 2010 or 2011 he ended up joining the Seattle Seahawks as a coach. But even in the NFL, prior to Pete Carroll going to college, he did see some success in the NFL. He took the New England Patriots back in 1997 to a 10-6 record and a divisional playoff berth. So Pete Carroll, you can't say that he doesn't know how to coach. You can't say that he's trying to piecemeal it together. It doesn't seem like you can have too many knocks on him, because most coaches that go to the NFL, go back to college, go to the NFL, go back to the college, you have somewhat of an asterisk. You dig what I'm saying? Nick Saban is a great college coach, but unfortunately his time in Miami was terrible. You dig what I'm saying? And so, you want to make sure that when you talk about coaches that were able to see success in college and in the NFL, Pete Carroll by far is one of the biggest coaches that's able to do it. And then we go on to Russell Wilson. You dig what I'm saying? Russell Wilson, drafted third round, 75th overall, and a lot of people, a lot of GMs, it seems like to me, the third round is where they are looking to get that gem, that unpolished gem, the diamond in the rough. You dig what I'm saying? And of course, the Seattle Seahawks hit it big with Russell Wilson at that time. He was nominated the Offensive Rookie of the Year. He did not win Offensive Rookie because RG3 would go on and win it that year. But then he got Offensive Player 3 times. He was nominated Offensive Player 3 times while he was with the Seahawks. And then also he was given a bunch of Pro Bowls. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and pull up Russell Wilson's stats. Yeah, so he was also named to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9 Pro Bowls. 9 Pro Bowls while he was with the Seahawks. Give him a round of applause. Russell is not a slouch. Let's point this out now. Okay, right now with the Denver Broncos, he's sitting at a whopping 5-14 as a starting quarterback for the Denver Broncos. Okay, let's not say that. That doesn't mean that he sucks. He sucks right now. Let's point that out first. But the years that he's been in the league since 2012, he's been in the league for 11 years right now, or 12 years or something like that. But all these years in the league, Russell he's contributed to something. You dig what I'm saying? He's contributed to an NFC championship, 2 NFC championships for the Seattle Seahawks and a Super Bowl. So he's responsible just as well as Pete Carroll is, just as well as the Legion of Boom is. But then we move on even more. We move on to beast mode, drafted first round, 12th overall to the Buffalo Bills, then traded after 3 seasons and 4 games with the Buffalo Bills. He was traded, 4 games into his 4th season, but he was traded to the Seahawks. While he was with the Seahawks, he was named to 4 Pro Bowls, and then he was also named to, I want to say, a first team and a second team all pro nomination. So major shouts out to him. Give him a round of applause. So as you can see, there's a lot of you just can't say that one person is responsible, right? But if I look at the way things are right now, right? Let's take it for face value, right? Russell Wilson, he's in Denver. He's 5-14 right now. 5 wins, 14 losses. Let's not forget that he also got 70 points hung on his head. Not his responsibility. He's an offensive player, but still, there was a record that was set on y'all's ass. So, we see where Russell Wilson is right now. And then you go back to Seattle. Pete Carroll, in my honest opinion, has proven myself along with everybody else that anybody can run this offense. A 72-year-old man, because there are highlights of him on Facebook and Twitter, whatever, of him just launching the ball all around the field. And then you see on Thursday night with the victory against the New York Giants. No, it was on Monday night with the victory against the New York Giants, 24-3. You lose one of your defensive starters to concussion protocol. You lose your starting quarterback, who also revamped his life in his career and ended up getting a second contract as a starting quarterback in the NFL. Maybe, just maybe, Pete Carroll was the thing that was driving this bus. Huh? Maybe Pete Carroll drove this bus, because as you can see, the success only, like, the Legion of Boom is nowhere to be found, of course, because most of these players have retired. They've hit their limit. Then you have Beast Mode. He's retired. He's hit his limit. Granted, he's doing great. Russell Wilson is still he's still in the league. He's still pushing as a number one quarterback in the league, but it's looking bad. And the only one that's still standing from the 2012 to the 2015 season is Pete Carroll. So in my opinion, it might just be Pete Carroll. Give him a round of applause. Maybe it's Pete Carroll, but listening to what Marshawn Lynch had to say, and we'll go right back to it again, because, for those of you that are just joining me, you might not know what I'm talking about, but this was Shannon Sharp. And yeah, this was Marshawn Lynch on Shannon Sharp. Say that 5 times. But this was on his Club Shay Shay show.
You didn't mess with who?
I didn't fuck with Pete. And then, Russ was just a quarterback for me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You didn't have no kind of a relationship? Y'all didn't like go to a party? Y'all didn't get together? Y'all didn't do it? Y'all didn't kick it like that? I mean, even Seven would come to the room. Club Shay Shay started in like a training camp in Denver. John would come to the room. We drank beer. We play cards. We rolled dice. The guys played video game. We laugh and shoot the ish. We had that type of relationship with him.
I'll take Russ and I'll put him right there at quarterback and I'll rock with him.
Right.
Because I have done that.
Right.
But as far as anything else, it's like there's
y'all didn't have a relationship outside of football.
No, there's no. Can't pick up the phone and call old boy or nothing.
Right.
And then
What you mean you couldn't pick up the phone?
I don't got his number.
Oh, well, but you would. But if
yeah, for sure.
That was such a real comment. He said, I ain't got his number. Shit. But a few things stuck out to me because I listened to the rest of the interview. Okay. If you haven't, feel free to do so. I want to make sure that I put this in context. People, listen to the entire interviews of clips that you post on social media or that you ramble through on social. Go through and actually, listen to the whole thing. So I listened to majority, if not most, of the interview between Shannon Sharp and Marshawn Lynch. And what's so interesting was that, Russell didn't really bang with nobody. And it wasn't a secret. We, the media and other watching ongoers or onlookers, we were like, well, shoot, it looks like Russell Wilson is getting a preferential treatment more so than the Legion of Boom, or more so than the rest of the players. And that started to leak out to most of the people. But then he also spoke up and said that was true, that there was a point where they were big on accountability just as a team. Accountability was a big thing for them. And Pete Carroll just said, hey, don't nobody talk to Russell except me. If you got something to say to Russell, say it to me. And that seemed like that was an issue. I would take issue with that as well. But then, of course, after practice, Pete Carroll treating Russell different than everyone else. Russell calling Marshawn from a blocked number. But then what was so weird, because how he explained it, almost like he poured his heart out to a fellow member. Now, I want to point this out too. It's very difficult for men to, for one, be vulnerable with other men. That's a very difficult thing to do. But when it happens, it can be magical. Tearjerker sometimes. If a man ever looks at another man and says, hey, man, I believe in you and this, that, and the third, that is awesome. It's great. But it seemed like this particular situation, Marshawn Lynch was having a heart-to-heart, or attempting to have a heart-to-heart with Russell Wilson, and it just didn't go over well. And Russell was kind of like, okay. Yeah, either way, they didn't have the best relationship between the both of them. But what do you think? Do you think it's, do you know what I mean? Do you believe that it's one of them? Do you believe that it is Russell? You might not see it, but that's Russell and Pete Carroll fist bumping. You dig what I'm saying? But do you believe that it can be one of them? Because I mean, as you can see, Russell isn't really moving on and doing too well with the Broncos, and it seems as if Pete Carroll is going to be moseying along at 72 years old as a head coach in the NFL. But what do I know, right? Ladies and gentlemen, make sure that you please continue to follow me everywhere. He is I and I am him. I am he that they call the Alpha Male on this Hump Day Wednesday. Let's get into it now. After 8 games, at the starting position, many of the Atlanta fans are just really not happy right now. A lot of people right now, the Falcons are 2-2. At the end of last season, Desmond Ridder was going 2-2 because he only had 4 games last year to end the season. He started this season with 4 games, and he's gone 2-2. And most of the Atlanta fans are upset. And first, I want to point out to the fans, you can't have it both ways. When Matt Ryan was the quarterback of the Falcons and he was scoring 20 to 30 points per game, we had an issue with it. Now, mine was different. I felt like we had issue with the defense. The defense couldn't lock in or hold down a lead or do what they do to ensure that the team would get a win. But, you know, other people wanted Matt Ryan gone because of, you know, how he threw the ball and this, that, and the third. But now my question to you is, how do you feel now? How do you feel now? Do you want him back? Because it seems like that's what we need. For me, honestly, I don't like the slow starts for the Falcons. I do not like the inability to make proper play calling. Even Arthur Smith said that, you know, the offense, they can't make positive plays when they're playing behind the sticks, you know. And for those of you that have played football or know what that means is, you know, you get a 1st and 10 every 4 downs, right? And most of the time in the first half, the Atlanta Falcons have gone 4 and out. And what 4 and out is, you got a punt. You dig what I'm saying? Like, there was no first downs. There was no forward progression down the field. You could not get 10 yards in 4 plays. And it seems as if the Atlanta Falcons, with so much, with Desmond Ridder, with Bijan Robinson, and I mean, he is a unit on the field. And it just seems like the Atlanta Falcons just cannot seem to get it together. Here's a highlight of last week.
Robinson in motion. Ridder throws, intercepted. Darius Williams has it for the Jags, and he might be gone. Flames coming out of his cleats. A 61-yard pick six for the Jags.
Now, I had to show the animation from last week because I wasn't able to show you guys on Monday, but that was dope. I loved it. Give them a round of applause for the animation of the football game in Andy's room and the players. Like, it really mimicked the exact same thing that the players are doing during the game. So major shouts out. I don't know how they did it, but that is totally interesting. But I showed that because that was one of the 2 interceptions that Desmond Ridder had during the game in Wembley Stadium against the Jaguars last Sunday. And, you know, it just, I've heard many things. I've heard that some people want Desmond Ridder to be the quarterback. Some folks want Taylor Heineke to be the quarterback. And in my honest opinion, I don't know. You know, Taylor Heineke, of course, he has had experience in the NFL. He has also had a playoff start in the NFL. So he looks to be somebody that could possibly take over. But I was listening to Dukes and Bell earlier today, and Mike Bell had said, if we do that, we really got to commit. And if we do that, you know, you're going to go through another rabbit hole. And so we don't want the quick fix, right? The Atlanta Falcon fans don't want the quick fix. The defense is solid. The defense is good, right? You got about 1 to 2 years, 2 years at maximum with this defense playing at the level that they're playing at. So I want to point that out first, right? The defense, you got about 1 to 2 years maximum. But you know, the defense is finally in position. You're finally starting to get some playmakers and some superstars at offense. You know, you got Kyle Pitts, you got Bijan Robinson, you got Drake London. You have all of these pieces in place. When and how can we start to progress and become better? In my honest opinion, right? This is my opinion. I could be totally wrong and I could be reaching here, but I'm looking towards 2025 and possibly drafting Shedeur Sanders. Maybe that can happen. Maybe that can happen because this guy isn't it. This guy, in my honest opinion, he's not it. Desmond Ridder is not it for the Atlanta Falcons. And it's okay. It's okay to say that he's not it. It's okay. I had a discussion with my younger brother once, and he had said, you know, maybe the coaches already knew what they had in Desmond Ridder during preseason, right? And they didn't want to roll that out for other teams to get film on him. Who cares? The reps. He needed the reps. He needed to screw up a couple times. He needed to be in some tough situations so that the coaching staff can go back, look at it and say, okay, see what you did there? You needed to do that different just in case you're in that situation again. You see what you did there? Something is not happening with this quarterback. Something is not going right. You dig what I'm saying? And the unfortunate truth is that many of the players, many of the people who are inside of the Atlanta Falcons organization have said, hey, I'm sticking with Ridder. We are sticking with Ridder right now as it shows as a rushing team right now. We have about 4 games played, 113 carries, 502 yards total. And that is amongst Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier, and Desmond Ridder. And yeah, so that's the rushing this season. As far as receiving, Jonnu Smith, 15 receptions, 20 targets, 179 yards. Bijan Robinson, after 4 games, 19 receptions, 22 targets, 134 yards. Drake London, 11 receptions, half of that. You know, well, he got half of 22, 126 yards receiving. Kyle Pitts, you dig what I'm saying? 11 receptions, 21 passing, 121 yards. Mac Hollins just barely gets the ball, period. You dig what I'm saying? We have a lot of players in position that can grow and can be great additions somewhere else, but it don't seem like it here because our quarterback just doesn't seem like he's in the position or he is coached up enough to lead the Falcons to victory. Just simple and plain. If we go through it, right? And you're listening now from AlphaMale Sports. If you go through it, right? So I'm looking at their schedule. So of course we got Carolina out the way and Green Bay out the way. We were 2-0. We fell to Detroit, had a horrible game versus Detroit, almost as if it was like offensively we were stuck in the mud and still stuck in the mud. They got it together in the second half against Jacksonville in Wembley Stadium. So now we got a rookie in the Houston Texans. We got the Washington Commanders with their tough defense, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are right now leading the division, and we have the Tennessee Titans. That is the next 4 games. Can the Falcons go 2-2 in that line of games as well? This weekend, of course, they go up against the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans will be here in Atlanta versus the Falcons. So I am excited to see what happens there. And if the Atlanta Falcons can get a win versus a rookie and possibly a depleting offensive line, but it seems as if the Texans are starting to get it together. It seems as if the Texans might have something that they're going off of, just getting a decent win last week. And I mean, well, it wasn't a decent win. It was a damn good win versus the Pittsburgh Steelers, but it might seem as if they might bring that and continue on. CJ Stroud might have his footing. Hopefully the Atlanta Falcons will do the same with Desmond Ridder in this game as well. Ladies and gentlemen, you already know what time it is. It is me. He is I, and I am him. I'm he that they call the Alpha Male. I'm going to enjoy the rest of my Wednesday. Tomorrow, Thursday night football. Who's playing? Hold on a second. Let me look through my handy dandy notes. That's right. So Thursday night, we got the Chicago Bears and the Washington Commanders tomorrow night. The Chicago Bears, Washington Commanders. Make sure y'all check that out on Prime Video. If you haven't, I'm watching it. Ladies and gentlemen, y'all know what time it is. It is me. He is I, and I am him. I am he that they call the Alpha Male, and I am out. Peace. All right, I got to get my music back. There we go. Peace.